What is going on, everyone? So, Long Haul Mentality Podcast. Welcome back. What do you think of that name, Keon?
That's pretty dope, bro. I told you that's a name you need to be branding, man.
I hadn't come up. I literally, this is the first time I've said that, so I was like, "All right, let's test it out and see what people think."
Oh,
But
it's dope.
so first guest back, recording with someone. I've done a couple of solo ones now, but I had to make sure that the first person to come on was the homie Keon. How you been,
What's
man?
up? I'm good, bro. Just chilling. Just got done recovering from the surgery from gyno, so just getting back to training now.
How's that
Uh,
been?
it's my second week back now. I started back training last Monday. I did arms. This Monday was my first chest day since this in 4 weeks. That was okay. Kind of scared to stretch, but it's getting
Yeah.
better every day. So next week is just trying. Each week I'm gonna just try to bump up the intensity and the weight.
How's the how's overhead stuff feel? Like when you do something overhead, how's that feel? Does it
I
stretch
haven't
it?
re- I haven't tried that, but I can stretch now. I can put
That's good.
my arms over my head and stuff. I just
That's good.
haven't physically in the gym yet. I'm gonna load it this week when I do back, so I'm gonna see how that feels.
Good. Jordan Hutchinson has had a hell of a time coming back from his like he got back to training. Like his doctor told him he could go back to training quickly, and then it like opened up on him. So he's had a bunch of like issues
Yeah,
with it and stuff. So
I,
I'm glad yours hasn't been that way.
yeah, I've been hitting them up lately during the procedure. I was just texting like, bro, when did you start training? What the fuck is this?
I
Was that me or you?
don't know how you did that, but all right.
Look at this shit.
You did some
I
fireworks,
don't
but
know. But yeah, I was asking him during the procedure and asking him when did he start training. He came back early, like 5 days
yeah.
apparently after surgery and trained chest like a dummy.
Mm, yeah.
And apparently he fucked up. So, not calling him a dummy, but just
Right.
like it's just a bodybuilding mistake thing. I always hear people so eager to train, and I was that guy. I wanted to, but Amanda made me not fucking hold my fucking arms up. I had to have my arms down for like 2 weeks, so I
Ugh.
made sure I was recovering perfect, bro.
To be honest, I never really even noticed gyno. Like it wasn't something that was like super obvious when you got on stage. So it must have been fairly small.
Yeah, it was small. I mean, it was. I felt like it was a good bit when he showed me, um,
Sure.
but it was small. I noticed my gyno. Uh, I think I say I would notice it like in 23. But in 24, I really noticed it on certain poses, like
Mm,
maybe like the ab and thigh, or like
yeah.
raising my arms up. You could kind of
Yeah.
see it, but most poses you really couldn't see it. But I knew if I didn't take care of it this year, I'm gonna have a problem with it later.
Sure. Might as well get rid of it. No reason
Exactly.
for it to be there. But so let's get into why we were going to talk today. And I think one of the interesting things about this podcast is like since you and I have like a pretty long history together,
Yeah.
we've been through a lot as far as like me watching you go through the ranks and whatnot with bodybuilding and stuff. So what I wanted to talk to you about is like, so we were obviously friends prior to 2021,
Yeah.
but in 2021, at like 5, 6 weeks out from the Olympia, you had asked me to start training you.
Yeah.
And we did some in-person training together and whatnot. And that was unfortunately probably one of your worst looks you've had, right? Would you
Yeah.
agree?
100%.
Yeah. Um, and what I wanted to like get into it with you about was your mental shift from 21 to 22 to 23 winning your first one. So what do you think was the biggest deal between 21 to 23 that like I think we said you were around 14, 15 and 21
Yeah.
and then you got 6th in 22, right?
Yeah.
And then first in
Hmm.
23 beating
Yeah.
Sean. So what do you think was the biggest change for you during that time?
Um, environment. For one, just believing in myself, and for two, I knew I just needed to have a better environment. I'm not saying destination wasn't the best environment, but just I learned that being with Amanda, having certain people in your life, you just have to eliminate them. And I think it starts with eliminating the people that's not for you and that's not there to see you win or to push you or not on the same team. And I think that's one thing I noticed being with her was really finding the people that's truly my real friend and wanting to be around certain people. You
100%.
know, reason why we're still close, and then I'm still close with certain people back at home in Georgia. I just fairly believe in, starting with the people that been there with you before, before who I was in 21. Because before 21, I still placed fourth at the Olympia. I still placed, high at the Arnold, and I still did really good things. But I just knew I needed to have a better circle, and obviously believing in myself. I didn't believe in myself. And you see, now I was always up and down. One minute I felt okay in the gym. Some days I just felt like I didn't want to do nothing. I probably would half ass a set, or maybe I didn't want to listen to what the cues he was telling me because I was just all in my head. I was just,
Sure.
holding myself back. And then, yeah, 22 was just like, once I realized people wasn't talking about me, I didn't have any pressure going to 22. I felt like that was the year I can really like try to thrive. And that's why, I got a new coach with Patrick Tor. I wanted to
Yep.
level up. I knew Patrick, Coach Darwin and Valier, and he got everybody into shape. And I'm like, I need that. I need that. I need to suffer. And then, I met Amanda when I was about 16 weeks out from the Olympia, 15 weeks out, and she was with me the whole entire prep. And I think that's when everything just flipped. Everything flipped when I met her
I agree.
and got a new coach. And
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I mean,
yeah,
I can remember thinking back to 21. I was still like training a lot of people in person at that time, so I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and as I'd be driving into destination, I'd be getting text messages from you of like check-ins with your coach at that time, and like
yeah,
there would be days where you would message me, be like, "Bro, I'm winning the Olympia," and we would have that conversation back and forth about how good you were feeling and how ready you were to do
hmm,
this, and then like sometimes hours later it would flip the other direction where you'd be
yeah,
super in your head and kind of doubting that whole thing. And I think part of it is like you said, you kind of have to learn like who are the people who actually genuinely care about me
hmm,
for being me, and who are the ones who are here trying to get something out of me, right?
exactly.
And especially with you being in a unique situation of like, look, as soon as you came on the scene, people were talking about you being able to be Mr. Olympia, right? Like people were talking about how crazy your genetics were and all this stuff. Because forgive me if I'm wrong, but you were natural when you turned pro, correct?
Yeah.
So like everybody was looking at you going, wow, this dude's got such a great success ahead of him, and I think getting that success super early on probably like got in your head quite a bit, would you say?
I don't think the success got in my head. It just everything happened really fast for me.
Just
Since I got on the scene.
not necessarily the success, but people like putting that pressure on you of
Oh,
going from like turning pro naturally to like this guy's going to be Mr. Olympia.
yeah, yeah. It definitely was pressure because I knew that if I didn't show up the way I needed to be, they was going to talk about me or they wasn't going to be on Team Keon. That was the younger version of me, the amateur version of me.
Yep.
But now I realize none of that don't matter. Um, Pressure doesn't bother me anymore. Now is I embrace the pressure. I love the pressure because that means I'm on top of my game, and that just means people are trying to chase me, and that's giving me more, motivation to improve and be better. So that's how I'm looking at pressure, honestly, for this year. Like I won two times already, but now I'm like, okay, I'm chasing something bigger. I'm not trying to chase anyone. I'm just
Yep.
chasing a better physique, a better package. And for me, that's all the motivation I need is just to beat Keon in 24. That's all the
Building that
motivation.
building that legacy to be the best
It,
212 ever, right?
yeah, that's all I need. I don't need to chase anyone anymore. I'm just
Right.
chasing myself at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting because like after 22, when you like when 21 was the really bad year, you dealt with a lot of things. You and I had a lot of like heart to heart conversations
Yeah,
after that show, and like you started to notice some things that you needed to adjust for yourself. And then coming to 22 with like Patrick, that was the first year you worked with Patrick, correct?
yeah,
Into the Olympia. So like one, I think like that almost fatherly figure of Patrick, I think helped started to shift you. And then meeting Amanda with her like being your support system of the
hmm,
like seeing you be able to go to her and rely on her and her being there for you like during all these like super difficult times. I think that's when I really started to realize like Keon's coming into his own now,
yeah,
and I think I was at the 22 and I was at 23. So I had you higher in 22, and I think we all like were hoping for like you being able to go from that terrible placing to winning, right? But like they gave you a big jump. You jumped like 10 spots
Yeah.
on the roster, and it was a great look. But I think you were just now starting to realize like what your capabilities were.
Yeah.
Like I think you've always known what your potential is, but like there's a difference between like what your potential could be and what your ability to execute towards that potential is, right?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think you started to get the glimmer of like, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now. I might not get there this year, but it's gonna happen. And then
Exactly.
that 23 year, it was like a shut the door on everybody kind of thing. And that's when I think you started to just kind of leapfrog everyone, to the point now where it's like, look, Sean's a homie. Sean's a good friend. I see Sean every so often. We talk quite a bit. He's an amazing bodybuilder, amazing dude. He's created such amazing legacy. But like, I don't see anyone being able to touch you again for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're in a position now where it's you and then everyone else, right? Everyone else is fighting for second, and the only way you got there was by shifting that mentality. Would you agree?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. It's the mentality, man. You have to. You have to, especially when you in this level of bodybuilding, bro. Now it's just like I'm unstoppable. To me, I'm unstoppable, because I know that I'm confident, and when you're confident, you can go far in anything in life, and that's how I'm looking at with bodybuilding. It's just I'm just very confident. I believe in myself, and I have a great team. So all I can do is just do the work, trust my team, listen to my coach, listen to what the fiance says when it comes to like my health and doing the hit cardio and all those things, and
100%.
everything should be all right. So
Yeah, I completely agree. And like you've been in Vegas for a number of years now, and like I don't get to see you on a regular basis anymore.
yeah,
But even from a distance, I could see that there was a mental shift. Like
yeah,
even when we didn't talk, I could tell that there was a mental difference because like the way you would post, the way you would talk online, the way you
mm,
were the way you were doing everything, you could just
yeah,
tell was a big shift in just who Keone was and your what's the word, just level of confidence in yourself as a bodybuilder and your capabilities. And I can remember it like it was somewhere close to the Olympia. It was like somewhere in that 4 to 6 weeks out. You're sending me a text message randomly out of the blue going, "Hey man, how you doing? How you feeling?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you texting me for? You're the one that's like super close to the Olympia. Like this dude is going out of his way to check on me. So he's got to be feeling himself right now." And it
yeah,
was a really cool thing to see happen. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. I was definitely feeling myself.
As you should, dude. I mean, this year was I was actually watching the 212 prejudging on my way to Belton, Texas, because I had that show with Blake and Chase and my other
Okay,
client Cherie.
yeah,
It was the same weekend as that show. That's why I couldn't be out at the Olympia, and I'm watching prejudging as I'm driving down the road. Don't do that. But
I
I'm
know.
sitting there watching it like on this tiny phone screen, and even on that, I'm like, dude, this is insane. Like this, it looks absolutely ridiculous. So like you and Patrick have definitely figured out that like recipe as far as what does Keon need in order to get there.
Yeah, we knew, like, honestly, bro, like after 23 Olympia, I wasn't happy with that package. I know people liked it and everything. I wasn't satisfied because there's a lot of things I still needed to work on. I still needed to be harder. That was the leanest I've been, but I still needed to be a lot harder. I still needed to have more muscle in the back. I still just wasn't satisfied because it was very close. It was very close. And even though Sean didn't bring his best physique at Olympia, obviously he wasn't satisfied. So it could have went either way. But I told Amanda, I was like, man, you know what? This year my goal is I want to look so good that I'm happy with every single picture on npcnews.com. I want to be like the main talk of the show. I want people to really put respect on my name, and I really wanted to close the door. I felt like I didn't close the door in 23. I won. Um and I do think I won fair and square, but 24 was like, I want distance. I don't want nothing close. So I mean, after the show, bro, we went straight to work. I did cardio all off season, and then I had a really good productive off season. Got my heaviest was 230, a good lean 230, and at the end of 24, for off season, I knew that that year was going to be like a distance year.
Oh,
I
100%.
felt that. I didn't care who showed up or what the guys was bringing. I just knew that I was going to be different from the rest,
Completely
and
agree.
we managed to put it together. And I'm still in awe right now when I look at my physique from that show. Like I still couldn't believe I brought that
I
because
I've said it in other posts and stuff before, but I think you have the best hamstrings in the IFBB period. You know, like that the way your hamstrings look in your back shots is just ridiculous. Like there's just fingers everywhere, and like the drop that it has on the side shots is just absolutely ridiculous. So like I would put you up against any open guys as far as hamstrings are concerned. And I'm sure somebody's going to come for my head for that one, but I'm going to ride or die on that one, bro.
one day I'll be compared to that. But yeah, I was shocked with the hamstrings, like the amount of progress we made on my legs in general. I wasn't expecting them to grow that much. I knew they was going to grow, but I didn't expect it to be that crazy on stage. To be honest, like I said, a lot of stuff that I saw in my physique, I was in shock. But it's still a lot of things I need to work on still. And
Definitely ain't no team thigh gap over there.
no, no thigh gap, no thigh gap anymore. I had thigh gaps. I had a thigh gap in 23 in my back shots, but that's because I was squeezing so tight.
Yeah.
I wasn't posing my adductors correct. I
Yep.
felt like I could have gave that same illusion in 23, but
Sure.
I wasn't thinking.
Posing super important.
Yeah,
Now,
bro.
as far as like, so 22, 23, 24 have all been with Patrick. What has been the thing in those that 3 years that has changed so much that made you go from like, all right, this is at 22, this is definitely the best we've seen of Keone, but there's still a little bit more. 23, you won the Olympia, but weren't super happy with it. And then 24, now you're super happy with that physique and then won the Olympia with it. So, what do you think has been the biggest difference in that time period that you and Patrick have done?
The biggest difference, honestly, we didn't really do anything different. We just kept going. We just kept it the same. I felt like the most difference I saw between that whole time period was my off season. Is literally keeping the cardio in to, have a good lean body composition to start prep, and just, missing no meals, and actually being more strict on my recovery and rest. But other than that, I don't think we did anything different. The food was the same. Everything was the same, bro. I know some people, it's a good question to ask. I know a lot of people think you change so much and you make these improvements. Like, what's the difference? Nothing. We just stayed consistent
Yep.
with the training and the food. And like I said, I think the biggest thing was the off season. And hopefully people could take something from this. Like, the most important change, I think, is the off season. It's not, as soon as people get in prep, they're like, I'm gonna get shredded, I'm gonna look crazy. But the thing is, you have to have that mindset in the off season. Like, I'm gonna be huge, but I'm gonna be lean. Also, try to keep my health as the best as I can as I get bigger, and keeping the cardio in. And that's the mindset that I have. I treated my off season just like contest prep, and I
Yep.
think that goes a long way.
100%, man. And like I wanted to ask that question because it's been something that I've talked about here like by myself recently, like doing
Yeah,
the individual podcasts, is like people want to look for like, oh, Patrick gave me this diet protocol in 23 and that changed everything, or people gave
yeah,
me Patrick gave me this drug protocol or this that or the other. And the thing is like more than likely you just need to keep doing what you're doing and just
yeah,
be patient, right? And do more of it. Because like
exactly.
when we worked together in 21, it was like me starting to introduce you into the world of like not slinging things, right? Not
Yeah.
just like moving shit for the sake of it. And then after we worked together, Amanda kind of picked that ball up and kind of continued to push that ball, right? It's like we kind of started that process and we were
Hmm.
starting to get into it, but you weren't really in the mindset to like take it
Exactly.
and start to run with it. But then once you got with her, she starts telling you that stuff. Plus, you have the mindset of like, this is what's going to help change my physique.
Hmm.
You started to see the differences and the changes of like, look, this stuff fucking works. Right. And then like the other important aspect there is like people not wanting to grind in the off season. Right. Because to me, like prep is far easier than off season because at least with prep you every week you're going, I've got 16 weeks, I've got 15 weeks, I've got
Yeah.
14 weeks. And like you can kind of do the same thing with off season, but without that added pressure of there being an end goal there, it doesn't connect as well with everybody. And most people fall apart in the off season because it's boring and mundane. You don't see the same changes all the time. Like
Yeah.
in prep, you're seeing changes every week at some point. With off season, it's like you might see some good changes like every couple of weeks. You know, for a freak like you, you're seeing them daily still. But for most of us normal fucking people, we're seeing them every 3-4 weeks maybe. And it's not necessarily just that the scale has exponentially climbed that whole time. It's like there's a lot of other markers that you have to pay attention to that if you aren't, it can seem like you aren't moving forward, you know?
Yeah.
So
I agree. I do think prep is more harder than I mean prep is easier than all season because like one thing about prep, you're hungry, so you're not gonna miss no meal. Off season when you're full, some of us have a tendency to where like, man, I'm gonna skip that meal, man. I'm gonna just try to combine them, or I'm gonna try to like, not even combine them because you still getting those meals in, but more so like I'm gonna get a cheat meal later and try to make up for those calories. You're not gonna do
Mhm.
that on prep because you're dieting, you're cutting, you're not gonna cheat yourself short. So I think that's like, yeah, I could say off season is a lot harder because when you're in a surplus, you're so fucking you're eating so much food. I mean, even me now, I just started off season last Monday, and I think my biggest thing is trying to keep my water intake up as I'm eating all these calories. Because it's some days where I kind of struggle to maintain my normal gallon a day eating all these calories. But in prep, you're gonna drink about 2 gallons. You're thirsty, you're
Yeah.
hungry. So yeah, I do think off season is a lot harder than prep. And I'm just not really, you know, thinking about it right now. It is.
Like I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying that prep is easy. Prep is not
Yeah.
easy, especially if you're
Yeah.
doing it right. But to me, like you said, like you're not going to miss meals and you're going to be ready to eat. And like, yes, there is some mental difficulty to like, oh, I can't go. Like I've got a 4-year-old, like I can't go in the cabinet and eat his goldfish, right?
Right, right.
Like that stuff is difficult, right? There is a very difficult aspect of prep in that manner of like you're going to get to a point where you're super hungry, super low on energy, that kind of thing.
Right.
But if you had to tell me you're either going to be like full blown off season full the rest of your life or 6 weeks out hungry the rest of your life, I'll take 6 weeks out hungry all fucking day. Like I don't mind being hungry. Being uncomfortably full to the point where the thought of food makes you want to vomit is not a fun fucking place to be in for a long period of time.
Yeah, I'm in that stage of all season right now, which I personally, like I always tell Amanda, like I know I'm not eating a lot of food compared to most guys that's my size or bigger. But for me, it's a lot of food, and sometimes when I eat a meal and I'm still full after an hour, I can't even look at food. It just makes me like nauseous. It's like, or she put that next meal in my face 2 hours later. I'm like, okay, here we go
Yep.
again.
You're sitting there at the kitchen table or watching something on TV for an hour and a half, still chewing the
Yes,
same meal.
still fucking chewing. She
Your
been done
jaw's all
eating.
tired, and you're just like, oh,
I don't know,
drinking
but
water, trying to get it down.
but
And
that that's usually me the first 3 4 weeks of the off season, getting used to the diet. After that, I don't really have no problem the rest of the off
yeah,
season. It's just the first couple of weeks. I just really have to get the appetite up, and
that initial just adjustment phase of getting used to whatever you're doing definitely is.
yeah.
Whether it's
So
cutting or bulking, if you like push food up a couple of weeks or push food down a couple of weeks, like it takes some time for your body to acclimate
yeah,
back to that. Um, I don't think we can do this podcast without talking about just like how funny connections we have had over
yeah.
the years, right? Because I don't remember what the year was, but I have the picture saved.
That was
And
2019.
was it 2019?
Yeah, I think I have already competed at the 2019 Olympia, and I was,
Yeah, March. I have it.
yeah,
I have it right. March
yeah,
2019. Yeah, we met.
2019. Yeah, we
Look
met
at
at
just how
fucking in the
terrible that
elevator,
picture is.
bro. That's the worst fucking picture ever, bro.
So I can remember for backstory on that. That was in Charlotte, North Carolina, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I was out there for a St. Patrick's Day bar crawl. I was staying in a studio apartment with three of my fraternity brothers from college. and we had decided to go out there drinking and stuff. And the funniest thing is, I remember being like, "Oh, I think Keone is in Charlotte. Like, I think you had been posting there or
Yeah.
whatever." And I was like, "How funny! What is up, Everett? It's empty. Oh, it's empty. Do you need some water? Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause this for a second. All right, small interruption from the little man, but um, so yeah, I remember you were posting of being in Charlotte or something like that,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking to myself like, "Oh, how funny would it be if I ran into him?" And then the day after the bar crawl, me and all my buddies are aggressively hungover from being
Yep.
out all night long drinking and like going crazy. And we're walking down the hallway and we're walking towards the elevator, and I see this person walking towards the two people walking towards me, and I'm like, that can't be who I think it is. And then you walk up to the same elevator, and I'm like, are you Keone Pearson? You're like, yeah,
I
what's
remember
up,
those
man?
exact 10 words.
are you Keone? You're like, hey, what's up, man? So we kind of shot the shit for a minute in the elevator, and then I asked for that aggressively disgusting picture, and then my friends gave me a bunch of shit after because they were like, did you just fan out hard right there? I was like, bro, yeah, like that's one of the best bodybuilders. Like, I love his physique. Like, it was cool. And then
That's
flash
fucking
forward,
crazy,
what
man.
was the first year you came out to Texas? Because I
20,
moved here in 2019, so in
yeah,
August later that year.
2020, me and Hector, the camera guy
Yep,
slash
Mendoza.
videographer,
Yep,
yeah, we had drove all the way from Atlanta to Texas. That was like a 14-hour drive, but nonstop, by the way.
yep.
We just kept switching spots. That was terrible. I was in fucking prep, and he was literally stopping at fast food place, eating in my face the whole time. I give him shit. I give him shit about it every time I wind up talking to him. But we drove there. I'm not sure if I saw you there when I visit the first time. I might have because I think I was
so
working out with Hunter that.
so I was outside, and I was either getting something from my car or I had just gotten to the gym, and you were walking inside. And I yelled out, I was like, hey, Keone. And you kind of turned around, and I was like, hey, I got something funny to show you. And I showed you that picture, and I said, do you remember this? And he go, hey, yeah, what's up, man? And we just started kind of started shooting the shit from there. And it's so funny how that, like, within a year, it goes from me kind of fanboying out to like meeting you there and getting a random picture, thinking I'm probably never going to see you again. To here
Yeah,
you are moving into my backyard in 2020, you know.
that shit
And
was crazy.
then literally 2 years from that disgusting picture of me, 2.5 years of that disgusting picture of me hungover as fuck. 2 years later, I'm working with you, training you for the Olympia.
It's just crazy, bro.
Dude, I didn't even realize that. I literally did not even realize that was the time frame until you just said that. Like, what an aggressive shift in just a couple of years can make, man. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's really really crazy how shit happens.
It's
I
been
mean,
it's been cool because, like, in a lot of ways we almost had a similar kind of come up, right? Not necessarily of like at the same level or the same stuff, but as far as my training and coaching,
yeah,
like, in 2019 you were like new on the scene and trying to make a name for yourself, and like that's when I started training people and started trying to make a name for myself. And then
hmm
2020, 2021, right, that was your opportunity to get to the Olympia, and by that point I had done 2 years, 2.5 years worth of in-person training and so on and so forth.
yeah,
So it's like just that trajectory of how things came up together. It's been really cool to be able to like be privileged enough to get to see the inside of your preps and stuff, and see you change as a not just a bodybuilder but as a person, like
yeah.
that's been a really cool thing to see.
I appreciate that, bro.
Of course,
Times
man.
flies, man. Time 2019 don't seem far, but it seems that exact memory, me and you in the elevator, seems like a long time ago.
Dude, that's
Uh,
that's another person. That is not
yeah,
this.
bro. I
Neither
mean,
one of us like, you got baby face and I just got drunk face. Like, it's like
bro, that I wasn't. I mean, even when I came and visited Texas in 2020, I wasn't. I was a completely different person because I already transitioned to 212 going into my prep. I was already in the 200s. When you met me, I was like 100 and like I don't know, probably 80 something pounds.
that's so crazy.
And that was like I wasn't even taking anything or whatever. I was just just rebounding from the Olymp. I wasn't even doing anything. I was just training. Yeah, I didn't look like nothing obviously in that picture. I looked really small because I was small, 180 something pounds.
But
But
the thing is your physique, because of the way you're structured, like you won the New York Pro looking like that, right?
what?
What year did you win New York?
Oh, 2000. So yeah, 2019. That was the year where I did
I gotta
Tampa
plug my
Pro
laptop in.
was. Yeah, Tampa Pro was the pro debut.
I'm listening.
Then the Arnold Classic, and then from Arnold Classic was New York Pro to Olympia. So that was a long year of
Yeah, so
competing.
that's another point that like I think is really important for people to hear is like you were like yes you were in classic at the time, so the category is a little bit different, but structure of a bodybuilder makes a big difference, not so
Yeah.
much their weight, right? Like
Hmm.
at my heaviest I was 265 pounds, and you put me next to you on stage at 180, you're gonna smoke me, right? Like like we put those two physiques together, it's not even in the same category, it's not even the same realm. So like one of the biggest things that I think people get way too caught up in is just like how heavy you can be. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it's not a game of weight, it's a game of building better structure,
Yeah,
building
structure.
right. Like you can only create structure so much. It's like a lot of that is what you're built with, but like the
Yeah.
more tissue you add, the more your physique starts to take a better structure, you know. Um, but like that's a super important thing to realize here is like what did you weigh this year in 24 for the Olympia?
Bro, I was 200. I've been 200 pounds since my 212 debut.
So the fact that like there's guys who on stage are fighting to get into 212 and you still have 12 pounds of room to just do whatever you want growth wise is a pretty fucking good thing for you guys. You know, it's like you're not having to fight last minute to get you into the weight cap or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like you've got all this room to grow, so you don't have to be super conservative in the off season, and you can just worry about bringing your best look ever, not necessarily I got to make weight. You know,
exactly. I've been blessed. I've been blessed with that because I mean, at 2020, my pro debut, I was 201. I was like 201, and then Chicago Pro the second year, including Tampa Pro and the Olympia, I was 200 pounds. And I
that's
was 200
insane.
pounds this year, but I was at my most leanest. I was bigger. So now, 25, I do not expect to be 200 pounds again. And now I'm at the point, okay, now I should be, this off season, I probably most likely probably be like 240. I was 230. My highest was 231, and I was pretty lean. So I think this year I'll probably like in a 240, probably 240 because I'm 223 now, and I just started off season last week. I got 5 months, so
Yeah.
um,
I mean, you always like will sporadically send me pictures, and I can remember like deep off season pictures being like, "Holy shit, how big is this dude?"
yeah, man, it's gonna get freaky. It's gonna get freaky this year, man.
Dude, I'm excited to
And
see it. Now,
yeah.
I feel like I would be doing a disservice to not ask this question because it's been going around a lot. Is like obviously the goal right now is to solidify your legacy in the 212 and just keep winning,
Hmm.
right? Is there any more thought to like going to the open and seeing where you can stack up in the open division?
No, I mean later on in a couple of years, yeah. But I'm always open to answer this question, no matter how many times people ask me on podcast or in person. Because some people, I like to be so clear. Because some people just put words in your mouth. So like, no, I won't be doing the open no time soon. I'm just focused on the 212 division and just trying my best to grow it as a champion right now. Just trying to motivate other classic guys that has the structure that I believe should belong in the 212 and trying to motivate them to move up to improve. And even open guys that maybe we can squeeze in the 212, I feel like they should go down. I mean, it can make the division better. And, because my goal is I would love to see 212 back in the Arnold Classic.
That'd be cool.
I would love that. I think 212 now will be competitive enough to have those athletes in there.
Yeah,
And
I feel like 212 gets a lot of shit. You know, like there's always podcasts popping up of like, it should 212 be a division, right? Because everybody will point to people like Derek and Hottie going up to the Open and being able to win the actual like Mr. Olympia title in the Open. And like I can understand the argument, but like a lot of the field of the 212 is not someone like you who has this amazing structure that like you can make up the difference in somebody being 40, 50, 60 pounds heavier than you by
Right.
you looking the way you do and
Hmm.
bringing the condition that you do. Not everybody in the 212 has that. So like those guys' careers would not be really where they are if that division wasn't there. So like I
Exactly.
understand both sides of the arguments there, but like if they're going to have the 212 division, I definitely don't understand why they don't get shown as much love. You know, like people kind of shit on it a lot. There's not a lot of 212 pro shows, which I feel like there should be more, but
Hmm.
it's just a tough one, man. It's like it's still bodybuilding, guys. It's like, why are we going to shit on these dudes just because they have a 212 weight cap, you know?
Yeah, in a lot of these guys, like old heads, or you can say, I mean, some of them don't think 212 should be here. They think all of us should be just one category. And I do think in the future, I do think that will happen one day. I don't know when, but later down the road, a couple years later, I do think we will be one big division again, like it was back in the '90s, or early 2000s, where it was just open bodybuilding. Because and they also feel that way because a lot of 212 guys are dabbing in the open division now and coming back into the 212. So that's why it's frustrating for a lot of those guys to say, what's the point of 212? But I still think it's a huge 212 is still should be there because classic guys can't jump straight to the open all the time.
Right.
Sometimes they may have to go, the guys my height, they may have to go to 212 for a little bit,
Yep.
then go to the open, so they can have a category to be competitive and compete. That's why I think 212 is a great category because there's so many short, thick structure guys out there, man. We don't even know who they are. I feel like it's a lot of them out there.
Yep.
They just haven't been seen yet. And I think as long as we keep the 212 division and me and Sean and other people promote the division, I think we can grow and still stay here. And that's, one of the biggest reasons why I don't want to go to open yet.
Yep. I mean, if they're going to continue to add more divisions like fit model or whatever it is, it's like, why would we
Yeah.
not have 212? Like it just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Yeah.
And like there is a lot of excitement around, like especially the end of 2024, Chris retiring from classic and doing an open
Yeah.
show as his last show. It's like it opens up that question even more to more people to go,
Right.
well, maybe Keone should do an open show. Maybe Keone should do the Arnold Classic in the Open. Maybe he should try to win an Open Pro show. So like you'll hear more people having that conversation, and now we're
Yep.
even seeing a prominent name like Breon Ansley go
Yeah.
from classic back up to 212 because he competed in
Crazy.
212 previously, and
Yep.
I think like Breon has like, especially because he's what, like 45, he's in his
Yeah. 40,
40s.
45.
Yeah, I mean, he's for his age, he still has a great structure and has a great frame. He's a great poser. So, like, I think with him now not having to be like sucking down into the
Mm-hmm.
classic weight cap, I think we're going to see a really good version of Breon.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it would be cool if he's able to bring it the way he is, to see him battle next to you. Do I think he's going to beat you? No, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I think it's cool to see some of these guys go, all right, well, like I'm not getting the praise that I want and or the
Yep.
placings that I want in classic, so maybe I do need to take a step up. And the same thing with the guys going from classic to open. It's
Yeah.
like for like myself, right? Like I'm a taller guy. If I can't have the physique and structure that I need at the weight cap that's in classic, the only option is to go to open, right?
Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of classic guys right now who are probably at that spot to where it's like, well, I'm too tall to be in 212, and if I'm going to go open, I have to put on an aggressive amount of tissue. So it's like honestly, it's like classic and 212 is definitely like a landing board for some people who just
Yeah.
need to push themselves harder, right?
Yeah.
Like Derek. right? Derek was in 212 forever and could make that class, and everybody thought he was going to win it, and he finally did. But like ultimately, he brought his best physique ever by allowing himself to go that big,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Exactly.
like he got a lot of recognition in 212, but his real glory, whatever you want to call it, came from not limiting himself with that anymore. Versus a guy like yourself who can very easily make the weight cap and just crush everybody, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's why I think 212 need to stay. And that's why it's good that we have these multiple divisions in the IFBB because it gives everybody a chance to find something that fits for them and show your potential. But yeah,
I know you made a
I,
post on it a while back. What do you think of Breon
when
coming back to 212?
honestly, I'm excited. I know he was playing around a while about going to 212 and stuff, but I'm excited that he's finally made it, and it's really good for the division, man, for the hype, especially the
Agreed.
hype and bringing his fans over to the 212 because he has diehard classic physique fans, so that way we can switch them over to 212 and pay attention more to our category and really tune in. So I think it's gonna be awesome, man. I'm excited for Breon. I'm actually supposed to train with him next weekend
Oh,
at
cool.
the LA Fit Expo, hoping I can catch him, we can get a session in. So
Yeah, that'll
I
be
think
sweet.
that'll be good for the division, and I think it'll be good hype content leading up for him to get his qualification for the
Yep. Now, out of curiosity, now I know that the focus with trying to be better the next year and so on and so forth. You've already said that is like your goal is to beat Keon, right?
yeah.
Is there anyone else coming up like that might be a younger 212 pro or maybe just turned pro or whatever that you've been paying attention to that like someday could be the next guy? Have you seen anybody like that?
Far as paying attention to, I don't really like click on other 212 guys and like trying to see who they are. Only people I see is the ones that's already been in the 212 open, like Sean and Angel, because I do follow them and I see him on my TL and stuff. And I support Sean a lot on his content. But Patrick Chor does has a younger 212 client. He's 21. His name Nihat. I can't
The Asian
pronounce his
is
name.
it Asian
Huh?
dude? Is it
I'm
an
not
Asian
sure.
dude?
I'm not sure what he is. What's his?
I think I know who you're talking about. I
But
can't.
it's a younger guy. He has a lot of potential, and I see him because Patrick posts him a lot, and I have conversated with him over the past course of like I don't know, year or 2 years. I am a fan of Zeke, and he's good. He will be a threat. Keep progressing, he's going to be a threat. He's going to be good. As far as that, I don't really know anyone else or anyone I'm following or seeing. To be
Yeah,
honest,
I didn't
yeah.
I didn't really expect anything there, but like I think it is cool to see like the guy who won middleweights at nationals, like he was like 180
Oh,
something pounds or whatever, like a guy like that who just won his pro card. I think it's really cool to see like for someone like you, for example, of like when you won your pro card, people are like this guy could
yeah,
go on to do X, Y, and Z. He's
yeah.
another one of those guys that like is starting to get a lot of that hype right now, where it's like this guy could do X, Y, and Z within the sport. And
Hmm.
it's like it's always cool to see if somebody can tap into that potential or not. Like
Yeah.
if they can make it there. Like because how many people have we seen over the years where somebody's been like, "Oh, this guy's going to be the next Mr. Olympia," and then
Hmm.
next thing you know, they're not competing.
Yeah, they fall off, and I think a lot of it has to do with just the pressure. They come on the scene, they do great, they turn pro fast, and then after that, you don't hear much from them because of I think a lot of it is the pressure the internet put on these guys now. They expect you to win. They be like they're already saying you're going to be a Mr. Olympia in a couple of years, or if you get
Yeah,
it right this year, and it's a lot of pressure for people coming on the scene because trust
completely
me,
agree.
I felt all the pressure in 2019 coming up. I've been around the best people in the world, bro. Like 2019, I mean, fuck, I met Chris Cormier, uh, Flex Willer, his whole crew. They was with back in the day at an early age. That was for me at the time. That was a lot of pressure because I'm with the big guys like that. I'm already in their face. So
And getting thrown into that at such a young age, like how old were you at that time?
it's like 20. I was like 20, 23. Yeah, I was like 23. And like I said, that was my first full season as a pro. So being, meeting those guys first before anyone else was insane to me.
23, you're still a kid. It's like
I know.
you're still just like a child, and then you get thrown into the limelight with all these people giving you praise and all these huge names and legends and stuff. It's
Mm,
like no wonder there was like all this pressure that you put on yourself, and you didn't know how to handle it, and it ended up expressing itself as like some mental problems that you had discussed in the past, of like your mental health just kind of suffered to the point where
yeah.
you pulled out of the Olympia one year. It's like
Yeah, and
no
it's
wonder. Like, of course, it's just like it's like a child actor, right? It's like they get thrown into the limelight, and all of a sudden, all these people want to talk to you and have your
yeah,
attention and stuff. It's like, of course, you're going to be fucked up. No one knows how
yeah,
to handle that at like 20.
yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
When I got into bodybuilding, I didn't sign up for a lot of this stuff. Because when I got into bodybuilding, it was just because I love training, and obviously people back at home where I'm from motivated me to compete and do a show. But my intention wasn't to be who I am today. It just I got good at it, and I was just around a lot of good people at the time that believed in me, and I just went with it because I did feel like I think someone that asked me, when did you feel like this was like your calling, like this was going to be your career? And I told them that I think it was New York Pro, when I won New York Pro. And I'm like, damn, I think I actually can do this for a living, and actually like go full throttle and make something out of myself. And since then, that's when I really took it like the next level serious,
Yep.
because I just felt like I could be something in bodybuilding.
And
Because
there.
before,
Go ahead.
no, I was before bodybuilding. I didn't have a plan. It was just I just wanted to make money somewhere and
Right.
something in fitness. I didn't know what. I just we all start off with personal training,
Yep.
and I just knew somewhere I just wanted to make good money personal training.
Yep. Yeah, and like I have a similar story to like that. I didn't get the same type of success you did in the competitive realm of bodybuilding, but like I knew there was something within bodybuilding that I wanted to be a part of, and that's what
Yeah,
spurred me to move to Texas in 2021, or no, 2019. Jesus. That's what spurred me to move out here, is just because I could be around people like you, like Hunter, like all these other bodybuilders who have moved out this way, and being at a gym that's well known across the world, um, and you got a lot of big validation right out the gates of like winning the New York Pro. Like that's a huge title. And like getting that validation, it's like there's a lot of people out here saying, I'm going to make a living as a bodybuilder, who haven't even won a local show. And it's like, okay, good. You should have big aspirations and stuff, but
yeah,
like you should also be prepared when that doesn't work out, right? Because like
yeah.
speaking from experience, like if I had put all my eggs in that one basket of like I'm going to
Hmm.
turn pro and that's how I'm going to make a living, I was going to be really fucking disappointed. Like
Yeah,
I
that
never won a
wasn't my
local show,
intention.
period, in 13 years.
Yeah, that wasn't even my intention going to bodybuilding. Doing it for a living, like I said, it was just a hobby or something that I enjoyed doing it,
And your body liked it.
and my body liked it, and I wound up being good at it. So with
And
the
you
success I
slightly
did at
two
with
Olympia
this,
titles. I'm kind of good at this.
I know shit happens. It's crazy when I hear a lot of like legend stories of like how they got into bodybuilding. Is either they was grown up doing it, or they just threw themselves in the water just randomly, like kind of like how I did,
Yep.
and became something. It's just very interesting hearing people their why they
Yeah.
started bodybuilding.
Yeah. I just didn't want to be skinny.
Same thing. I remember I graduated high school. I was like, I just want to be jacked when I get out of high school, and people say I was already jacked. I didn't see it. I
You
see
were.
it now, but I didn't see it.
You
Shut up.
were. That version of Keon would have beat me up in high school for sure.
It's funny now. I look back at pictures and I see why people call me like little steroid. I heard that a lot, or and stuff. I'm like, man, I gotta stop calling me that, man. But now I see it, and I'm like, damn. Like if I saw that kid today, I was
Yep.
like, bro, you should have tried bodybuilding.
Yeah, right.
I probably would. I don't want to condone. I don't condone like everybody doing bodybuilding. But if I see someone that a freak of nature walking around, like you should try bodybuilding.
You should give this a whirl, man.
Yeah.
But so we'll go ahead and wrap it up there, man. I think we touched up on a lot of stuff. Before we go, for like us wrapping up this mentality of like shifting from like basically last place at the Olympia to winning the Olympia, what's like a key piece of advice that you could give to somebody out there that might be struggling mentally right now with where they're at in their fitness journey?
Make sure you got the right environment. I think having the right environment is the biggest thing to your mental. I'm the proof of it. Having not the right people in your circle, not being in the right environment can lead you to the wrong direction. And so, like I said, when I put myself out of that circle and put myself in a better circle of people who believed in me in a better environment, that's when I felt like I really truly found myself and was able to thrive. So anyone that's in a bad mental spot, let's start off with your environment, change it. You're in control of your environment, you're in control of the people in your life. And, that's what I learned,
Yep.
these last 3 years.
Yeah, and I think by environment, you don't necessarily just mean like the location that you live, but you mean like where you're training, the people you're surrounded.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you need to move to somewhere else. And like, is that what you mean as far as that's concerned?
Yeah. Environment. Like that's why I moved to certain places around in my life because of I was just trying to find myself. I was trying to find the right environment to be in to pursue this, you know,
Cool.
and also, meeting good people.
Yeah, I mean, if you stick in the same bubble, you're only going to meet the same people, you know.
That's
But
why I rock with you, man. You've been rocking with me before where I'm at today, and that's why I feel like,
always, bro.
that's why I feel like I'm truly in where I'm at. I give credit to you guys for believing in me, So I appreciate you.
Of course, man. I mean, I appreciate you allowing me to be part of it. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm some random kid that came up to you fucking still drunk from the night before, and then you
I know.
decided to make me a friend. You know, it's like I can't complain about that, man. So like it right back at you. It's been a privilege to just be your friend. You know, like regardless of anything else besides that, it's like just knowing that like I got my homie Keon to count on. Like, I mean, there was a time when I had to call you randomly middle of the night when I'm fucking crying my eyes out, going, "Hey, can I come stay at your place?" And then sleeping on an air mattress that deflated on me overnight. But hey, I got my boy. I knew he was there for
Oh
me. You know.
yeah, you did. I had a mattress at my house. You came over and I think you heard me snore in my
Oh
room
yeah,
when I had
dude.
my door closed.
Yeah, I was awake all night, but that wasn't just because you were snoring, but you were crushing them logs, dude.
You thought I was a fucking grizzly bear in that room.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you being my first guest on this, and I'm super excited to see what you do this year at the Olympia. I'm fingers crossed that I'm going to have some athletes at the Olympia this year. But
Hope so, bro.
we got thumbs up now. First
Oh
fireworks now, thumbs up.
shit.
But regardless, I'm not going to miss the Olympia this year. I was kicking myself in the ass, not realizing that that show was the same weekend as the Olympia this last year. So I will 100% be there this year for sure. And
Hell
I'll
yeah.
be looking forward to seeing you take home number 3.
Hell yeah, man. I can't wait for you to come out here, man. And
I have to get
definitely
you
we
to.
have.
I have to get you to update the signature. That's right there. That one's
Oh yeah, we gotta update that
one of
one.
your first signatures of your first win ever. So we'll have to update that and put a ×3 on there or
Yeah,
something.
100%.
All right, bro. Have a good rest of your night, man. Appreciate you coming
All right,
on.
brother. Thank you, man.